Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of That's a Wrap. My name is Anthony Gentry, and I'm so glad to be back with you all. Um, I got a lot to talk about today. As you all know, it's been a rocky season. Been off and on a lot. Don't want to make any more promises than I've made, but hopefully we're back. We got some movies coming out now. We got Ghostbusters coming up, Godzilla vs. Kong or X Kong, The Fall Guy, a lot of others. I'm blanking on it, but you know. Today I'm going to talk about the Oscars, some new trailers that came out, and give my review of Kung Fu Panda 4. And now, you might be asking me, now Anthony, where's your review of Dune 2 that you promised us? It's coming. But there's some things in the works that may or may not happen, but could be exciting. And so because of that, I'm going to hold off on my thoughts on Dune 2. I have seen it. I do have thoughts on it that I can't wait to share, but you'll just have to wait. But until then, let's get into today's topics. If you don't know, this is That's a Wrap is a sometimes weekly show where I just talk about movies because that's what I love. I will come in and review a new movie. I will talk about trailers, and sometimes I'll talk about movie news if I think it's a good topic to discuss. So yeah, if you like that, go ahead and give it a listen. Listen to some old episodes. I don't know, subscribe. But let's get into the main topics. First thing I want to talk about is the Oscars. The Oscars happen, guys. I love the Oscars. It's one of my favorite nights of the year, just sitting down and watching them, because you never know what's going to happen. You can have a bracket and it can all go wrong. But this year, it was pretty steady. It was pretty smooth for me. Some big surprises from me that probably didn't surprise a lot of people. Cillian Murphy won Best Actor. I was holding out for The Holdovers with Paul Giamatti to get it. But Cillian Murphy still deserved it. Divine Joy Randolph, or Davine, I believe, won Best Supporting Actress, which is well-deserved. Emma Stone won for Poor Things for Best Lead Actress. That's something I'm really surprised about. I think she deserved the win. She was great in Poor Things. But Lily Gladstone, I just think, brought so much more to her. And because they are two very different performances. Lily Gladstone is a lot more subdued, whereas Emma Stone really puts herself out there, and it's a very bold and full of bravado performance. And Lily Gladstone's is still bold, but it's a little more low-key than Emma Stone. I wonder if that's why. There's also arguments that she's not really a lead because she is only in, I think it was about 56 minutes of the film, but she is a lead, a main character. She is one of the two leads, the other being Leo DiCaprio. So I think that argument's silly. But yeah, I was surprised to see Emma Stone win. She was obviously very surprised herself. Her speech, while it was good, it seemed very off the cuff. Like she didn't have a speech because she didn't think she was gonna win. Especially when she walked up. It was very funny. Robert Downey Jr. won Best Supporting Actor. Not surprised there. He definitely earned it. And Oppenheimer won Best Picture. I thought Oppenheimer was the one movie that wouldn't get it because it was such a front runner, but that's what I get for trying to be a contrarian, because it won, and everyone on planet Earth except for me was not surprised. Yeah, I mean, it totally deserves the win. It is a great movie. It's a great production. For me personally, after seeing all the nominees, even though my favorite of the year is Barbie, or you know what, it might change. I keep going back and forth with some of the others. Which, by the way, my worst of list, I got it wrong for number one. I said number one was The Marvels. It's The Expendables. I forgot to put that on my list because it was so forgettable. The Expendables 4 is my number one worst movie of last year. Anyway, Um, and even Aquaman 2, I saw that. That movie's bad. That'd be my number 2. So Marvel's, you're moving up to number 3. Congrats. But I forgot what I was saying. What I would give Best Picture to otherwise, I'd probably do Past Lives or Anatomy of a Fall. And I mean, obviously the holdovers. But those two movies do such a good job at what they're doing, and they are directed so well, written so well, acted so well. It is a great production. I feel like that I would have given those Best Picture before I would have given it to Oppenheimer, but that's just me. I do think all the films nominated were deserving. This was the first time I got to see all the nominations, and I'm very happy about that. And they are all great, very deserving of their nominations. I know a lot of people weren't a huge fan of Maestro. I didn't mind Maestro. I liked it. It wasn't the best, but I still liked it. Some highlights of the night. Obviously, I'm Just Ken. That was the best performance of the night. I was not surprised that Billie Eilish won, though. That is probably the better song of the two. Anyway, Jimmy Kimmel. I wasn't a huge fan of his speech. Him bringing up Robert Downey Jr.'s drug addiction didn't sit right with me, and then he doubled down on it when Robert Downey Jr. Appeared to be not happy with it. And obviously he could just be playing it up because a lot of these celebrities know ahead of time of what jokes are going to be said because they're going to be on camera for their reaction. So maybe he knew and maybe he was playing it up, but it just felt off. I also didn't like Jimmy Kimmel saying AI could have written Transformers, Rise of the Beast, because sure, that movie wasn't great, but the person still wrote it. And we just got done with a strike. And so after that, do you really want to make fun of the writers and say your work is bad? I don't know. It just felt out of touch, especially at an award ceremony celebrating film. I don't like how we keep getting hosts like Jimmy Kimmel who seemingly do not like movies. Get someone who likes movies. But anyway, highlights of the night. Obviously, Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger, they were great. That whole Batman bit, I loved. Al Pacino, man, he came out like like an old man just shuffling out. In my eyes, see Oppenheimer. He didn't care, and like he did come out afterwards and said, "Oh yeah, that was like scripted. I had to do it like that." But it was so funny. I loved it. I also really liked the bit with Kate McKinnon and America Ferrera with dinosaurs, especially when they cut back to Steven Spielberg and he pointed at himself. That was a great bit. Not every bit landed. John Cena, that was a good one. I really liked that. That was funny. I don't want to just list out moments, but overall, it was a good Academy Awards. Nothing crazy happened. There was no slap. There was no Moonlight incident. But yeah, it was a good, steady year, and I was happy with it. It was good. Here's hoping for next year. See where that takes us. But until then, let's move on to the trailers. Maybe some of these will be nominated. I have a hard time believing that for one of them, but let's see. Oh, by the way, give the Oscars a Best Stunts category. You're giving them Best Casting, which is great. I always want a Best Casting category. But give the stunt performers their due, too. Don't just play a demo reel. Give them their due. Anyway. First trailer I want to talk about is a second trailer for a movie coming out in about May, I believe, starring Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt. That's The Fall Guy. And if you don't know, this is a remake of I think 80s television show, maybe 70s, not really sure, about this Hollywood stuntman. And in this film, Ryan Gosling plays a stuntman who's in love with his film director that I guess he just keeps collaborating with, even though that doesn't really make sense for a stuntman. Usually you follow the actor, not the director. But they've worked on multiple films together, and director is played by Emily Blunt. And the main actor goes missing. So now Ryan Gosling is on the hunt for him because no one cares about the stunt performer. So if he goes missing too, who cares? And hijinks ensue. And let me just say, I love a good, funny Ryan Gosling. Him in comedy roles are some of his best performances, but there's something about this that just doesn't click right. I mean, for one, if your actor goes missing, you're not going to send a person on your crew to get him, even if it's a stunt performer who no one cares about. You're going to send someone else, maybe a private, like, person, enforcer, or whatever. You're not going to send someone on your crew. That's just not how things work. That doesn't make sense. I really don't like that. Putting that aside, though, maybe they explain it in the movie. The jokes just weren't hitting for me. I don't know what it is. The action, I don't know. There's just something about this movie that just doesn't sit right with me. And I'm hoping it's good. Their reviews have come out because it played at South by Southwest, and the reviews are very good. There aren't many of them, but they're pretty good. It got a standing ovation, but every movie gets a standing ovation. So who knows about that? I'm hoping this is good, but this trailer just casts doubt even more for me. David Leitch is doing this, who did Bullet Train, and I like Bullet Train. He also did, I believe, Deadpool 2. I really liked Deadpool 2. I liked it more than the first one. So, maybe it's just a bad trailer for me. It is on Rotten Tomatoes an 88% with 34 reviews. That's pretty good, actually. So we'll see. But yeah, I guess I won't be able to really tell until the film comes out, which is on May 3rd. But we'll see. Anyway, the next trailer I want to talk about is a little teaser trailer that just came out today in a long-running franchise that has been in multiple genres. Have you guessed it? It's Alien Romulus. This is a new movie in the Alien franchise, going back to its roots, being directed by Fede Alvarez, produced by Ridley Scott, not directed by. And what I like about this trailer is it feels like it's going back to the original Alien, to where it's focusing head on the horror aspect and the isolation, claustrophobia of that first movie, which looks really cool. I'm not sure where it is on the timeline. I think I heard that it's one of those sequels that ignores some of the others. But it looks freaky. It looks cool. They really didn't show the xenomorph all that much, which, if you don't know, is the alien. But they showed a lot of face huggers, and the way they just crawl around and build to be this giant mass that will destroy things. It looks really cool, and I'm really excited to see this. Now I wasn't a huge fan of Don't Breathe, which is Fede Alvarez's previous film. I haven't seen his Evil Dead remake, so I can't really say anything to that. But as far as this goes, it looks really cool. I really like how they didn't show you the alien until the very last shot. I'm kind of hoping they do that in the actual movie, where they kind of take a Jaws approach. And, I mean, the first Alien movie's approach, where they just give you little bits and glimpses of it, but they don't show you the whole thing until way later, so it builds up that suspense. We won't know until the actual movie comes out, of course, but this trailer gives me hope for that, and I really like that. This is it says integral. It's between the first Alien and Aliens, so I guess they're not ignoring everything else, but that hasn't happened yet. That'll be very interesting to see how it lines up with everything else, which probably means the alien's going to kill everyone, or Weyland Yutani is going to cover it up. Oh, this could be cool. This could be interesting. Yeah, Alien Romulus looks rad. It comes out this summer. I'm not entirely sure when it comes out. August 16th. So there you go. Next trailer. This is a trailer in a franchise that I've been up and down on for a long time, but this still holds a special place in my heart. Of course, that's Star Wars, The Acolyte. This trailer came out, I believe, yesterday, as I'm recording this, and it's set 100 years before the Phantom Menace. This is the farthest back a live action Star Wars property has gone, which makes me excited. And it follows this kind of Sith uprising that the Jedi weren't aware about or had planned for. And yeah, that's basically the gist of it. And this trailer rules. I really liked this. Like I said, I'm really happy about it going back in time because for one, that's not really a setting that we've been to in live action Star Wars. But also for a selfish reason, I haven't seen the Clone Wars TV show, and because of that, I don't want to watch sequel stuff to that, so I haven't seen Ahsoka yet. And I'm really itching for some more Star Wars. And the thing about Clone Wars is it's just so long. It's so long, and it's not hard to get into, but it's a lot to get into. And so I'm excited to just jump into this fresh and just seeing what they do. I've seen comments of people saying, "Oh, it breaks canon because in Phantom Menace they say Sith hasn't been around for a millennium." But that was the point of the Phantom Menace. It was a Phantom Menace. They've been around the entire time, but the Sith were too arrogant to see that. So I think it makes sense. I think it fits for me. I'm really excited to see this. I really love the serious tone that they're going for. I know Andor also did that, which a lot of people love. I still haven't seen that, but I plan on watching that pretty soon. I really like the martial arts that you see in the trailer with Amanda Stenberg. I apologize for mispronouncing the name, but it seems like she's gonna be this really cool character, and I like it when Star Wars kind of gets away from the lightsabers. Even though I love lightsabers, they're my favorite thing. It's really cool to see how they play with the non lightsaber wielding characters. Also, Glenn Howerton. Glenn Howerton's in this. Dennis. That's really cool. I love seeing him get new roles. So that's awesome. Yeah, I'm excited for this. Which I was kind of surprised to say because Star Wars has been kind of letting me down recently with Book of Boba Fett and Mandalorian Season 3, which I still haven't finished because I just jumped off of it. But anyway, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Next trailer. Okay. This is a movie that I was actually kind of excited about until I saw the cast. And that is Harold and the Purple Crayon. If you don't know, this is a movie based on a children's book, was also a TV show. That's this little kid, like, I don't know, a 3-year-old kid named Harold, and he has this purple crayon that when he draws something, it comes to life and it becomes real. And it's just about imagination. And it was a really cool show when I was little. I really liked it. And so when I heard that they were doing a movie adaptation, I was like, cool. That sounds really cool. This kid who can create anything like that comes to his mind. That's like a kid Green Lantern. Who doesn't want that? And then, who got cast as 3-year-old Harold? Zachary Levi. The, 52-year-old Zachary Levi. I'm going to look up his age. Zachary Levi. 43. I was 9 years off, but still. 43 years old. Full man. Like, cannot pass for 3 years old. I'm sorry. No amount of makeup can let him pass for 3 years old. And then I watched the trailer, and they do that shtick that they do in every kids adaptation movie where, oh, Harold existed in his universe, but now he's in the real world and he's a fish out of water. They did that with the Smurfs. They even did that with Sonic, even though Sonic kind of did it well. They did it with Sonic. I'm blanking on the other movies they've done it on, but they do it with a lot of stuff. And I don't know why. Just have him, like, actually be there. And also just have him be a kid. Make it an animated movie. That would be cool. But, like, seeing... It goes against what Harold and the Crayon actually is, because it's about a child's imagination. But now he's all grown up, and he still has his crayon. He's still making stuff. But now he just looks like this silly old man. And it's weird. It's weird to see. Like, why get Zachary Levi to do it too? It's just because he was Shazam, so he's gonna play it exactly like he plays Shazam, and that's just unfortunate. Lil Rel Howery is in it too. Zoe Deschanel is in this. Get them out of here. They don't deserve to be in something like this. I am not looking forward to this movie. I don't think it'll be that great. It wasn't funny. Um, it also feels a little cynical too, and that's also antithetical to the original show and book. Why is it cynical? Don't do that, please. Just be optimistic. Movies can be optimistic and still be good. Look at Wonka. Anyway, let's go into the last trailer for the day. And I wanted to end on this one because I really like this trailer. That's Furiosa. Trailer came out, I believe, yesterday. If you don't know, this is a prequel to the Mad Max movies, specifically Fury Road. It's an origin story, in a sense, of Furiosa, Charlize Theron's movie, or character. Sorry about that. Anyway, yeah, so it is an origin story for Furiosa. Her very young, this time played by Anya Taylor-Joy, with the villain being Chris Hemsworth, who I love in this. He's finally being able to use his Australian accent like he never uses. And you can tell he's just soaking up this role. He loves being a bad guy, and I love him being a bad guy in this. What can I say except that this looks awesome? It looks epic. It looks like a George Miller Mad Max movie, which is obviously all of them, but more like Fury Road. I haven't seen the others, to be honest, but I know this one, Fury Road, goes like even farther into the future where it's even more of a wasteland, so I've heard. And I love the look of these movies, the vibrant colors that you see. A lot of it is practical effects, and I'm hoping they bring that with this. It looked more CGI heavy in this trailer, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but having those practical elements in Fury Road gave so much more of a realness to it all that I really enjoyed. It felt like you were on this ride with Mad Max and Furiosa, and I'm hoping they do that here too. It was really funny when I was watching it because the Fury Road has really no story. It's just like go from point A to point B. And this one is telling a story, and for some reason that made me worried, even though I love a good story. But it was silly because I thought about it and I thought, I like this story. I think it's a good direction that they're going in for this character, and I think it's really interesting. They're bringing back Immortal Joe, which I was surprised about. I wonder if it's the same actor. I hope it is. But man, this looks amazing. This looks epic. I cannot wait to see this in IMAX, in Dolby. I'm not going to a regular theater. I'm going to see this in Dolby. Just because those colors will pop, and I can't wait to see that. But those are all the trailers. Have you seen any of them? Did you like them? Did you not like them? Do you like Harold and the Purple Crayon? Are you excited for Zachary Levi to take on the role? Let me know in the comments below if you're watching on YouTube. But let's go into the main topic of today, the main review of today. Kung Fu Panda 4. Jack Black is back as Po. I don't know why I said it like that. I wanted to be like an advertiser voice. Jack Black is back as Po in his biggest adventure yet. He has to train the new Dragon Warrior to stop a new bad guy. And that's it. So yes, this is the fourth movie in the franchise. If you're confused, that's because in the third movie was the end of the franchise too, and they decided to make one more. What reason, you ask? Oh, to tell a personal and meaningful story? No, it's to make money. This movie is very unfortunate to me because I really love Kung Fu Panda. The first one holds a special place in my heart. For some reason, as a kid, I didn't want to watch it, and then my elementary school had a screening for it, and I went to it, and I loved it, and ever since, I've loved the movies. Kung Fu Panda 2 is so good. Even 3, which a lot of people aren't huge fans of because they do change the tone a little bit, it's still really good. And part of that is Jack Black as Poe is just perfect casting. The writing is not only very funny, but also very smart and very effective at getting to the emotional core of these characters and this story and these stories. And they make the stakes very personal and they make the stakes high on a personal scale and on a global scale. So you feel the threat that Poe is facing. And yeah, that and there's a lot of nuance in them. As funny as it may sound in these movies about a talking panda that does kung fu, there's a lot of nuance and complexity in these. And it really sucks to say that this movie doesn't have any of that. This movie is about the same length as all the others. It's about 94 minutes, which I believe is even longer than some of them. But the pace that they go through is so quick. It seems like they're just trying to get from one scene to another, which makes it feel way too fast and that you're not connecting with any of these characters. Especially the new characters they introduce. Because with Poe, it's easy to connect with him because we've had 3 movies to do that. But with Aquafina's character, who's I believe is Shang, you don't really get much of her because it's going by so quickly that her and Poe's dynamic just feels rushed. They're supposed to become like enemies to friends, but you don't feel that. It feels very half baked. The journey that Poe is supposed to go on in this is also very half baked. He starts out just wanting things to be the same. He doesn't want change, and then by the end, that's like his whole problem is he has to find a new Dragon Warrior, but he doesn't want that. He wants to continue being the Dragon Warrior, which is an interesting problem for him to have, and it poses a lot of questions for him and like for a younger audience, which these movies are for, is for a younger audience. Like, what do you do when you have to become something you didn't expect? And that's cool, but the way they go about it is just, it doesn't work. I really didn't like how Poe was portrayed in this. For me, this movie is very similar to Toy Story 4 in that it feels like they didn't get all the characters right. It feels very rushed. They add in new characters for the sake of like adding new characters a few times. But the difference with Toy Story 4 is that at the end of the day, it felt like they had something to say. It felt like they had a reason to tell that story. But with this, I do not see any reason. Jack Black, who, as I said before, is perfect casting in these movies, it feels like he's not giving his all in this one, which is strange because he did a Britney Spears cover in the soundtrack with his partner in Tenacious D. Forgive me, I forget his name, and that was amazing. That's a great cover. But then in the actual movie, it feels like he's just kind of phoning it in. And it's weird because in every other role Jack Black has, whether it's animated or not, he's giving his 110%. So I don't know if it's the direction he had or if he just saw the story and just realized what was going on and just decided to call it and just give a performance on a great performance. I don't know what happened. Especially because I've seen some or read some behind the scenes things with this movie that the co-director talked about. That seems very troubled, especially in the writing process. There's some things here and there that just didn't work out, which is unfortunate. So I talked about Poe. I talked about Awkwafina. Let me talk about the villain in this, which is Viola Davis. Her character is the chameleon. Basically, she can imitate the past villains. And she wants to drain all the past villains of their kung fu so she can take over the world because she was told that she can't do kung fu because she's short. And that's it. It is not a very compelling backstory or reason, especially given that Mantis exists in this world, who is like 2 inches tall, maybe even shorter. But then, even then, Viola Davis, like, she's Viola Davis, so she's great, but she's barely in the movie. So we don't get a whole lot of the chameleon, which makes us not really connect with her either, because, like I said, it's very fast paced. Whatever we do get, it just quickly moves on to the next story beat. Or not even next story beat, the next scene. Because this is mainly a joke filled movie, which is very unfortunate, especially when you consider all the villains of the past films, who are all, that's where a lot of the complexity comes in. Every villain of these films are so, for one, nuanced, but they give the personal stakes for the film. And when Poe fights them, it feels very personal. Like, Poe is fighting kind of a version of himself, of who he could become. Oh, you get Tai Lung in the first one, you get Shen or Lord Shen in the second one, and then you get Kai in the third one. All of them representing like the darkness that Poe could embrace, but he doesn't. And they are just very good villains, very well thought out villains, very well written villains who have good motivations, and motivations that the audience can feel and understand, and in a way agree with at certain points. They just go too far with it. But with the chameleon, it's just a whole bag of nothing, because she's a basic villain who just wants to take over the world because she felt wronged in the past. And that reason is even half baked. So you don't really get the motivations for that. It feels like, at the end of the day, just a villain just to have a villain when you have that big fight between her and Poe, because you know you're going to get that. It feels like just a fight. There's no real stakes to it, because Poe isn't being challenged mentally or intellectually, just physically. And that's not one of like the best parts of these movies. The best parts is that mental challenge that he goes through, which it sucks. And yeah, like I said, also this movie's very full of jokes. I didn't laugh all that much. There was a few moments where I chuckled here and there, but it's not a very funny movie. If I wanted to get into some of the positives, there weren't many. Also, wait, no, before I go into the positives, there's no Furious 5 in this movie. The Furious 5 are gone, and they explain it in some half-baked reason that does not make sense. And I don't know why they got rid of the Furious 5, because the Furious 5 is as much their movie as it is Poe's. So why get rid of them? Why? That's also why it kind of feels like Toy Story 4, because that was mainly focused on Woody, and this is mainly just focused on Poe. And it's like, come on, you couldn't even get one of the most basic things of this franchise right, which is having these core group of characters. Anyway, some positives. I mean, I said one of them. I chuckled a few times. Some of the fight scenes are interesting. They are cool. Especially the end fight scene. And there's a fight on this like cliff bar it's not the best thing in the world, but it's serviceable. My absolute favorite part of the movie, though, is Poe's two dads, Ping, and I forget the other dad's name, but Bryan Cranston. And Ping is played by James Hong. They go on a quest to find Poe, and how they go about that, I just find it so funny, because their dynamic is so good, especially compared to the third one, where Ping hated Bryan Cranston, but now they are so entrenched together and such good friends, because they are fathering the same panda, Poe. And it's so funny to see them interact with each other, and just heartwarming too, in a way that I really love, like that part. There is one emotional beat towards the end between Awkwafina's character and Poe that is good, but when you do compare it to their relationship, it doesn't feel earned. Nothing in this movie feels earned because it is so rushed. The writing is just not there, and the characterization for Poe is not there. Even like I said about Jack Black not putting in a great performance, for the most part, this doesn't feel like Poe. It feels like a TV special version of Poe that isn't from the same writers, and we've had TV shows for Kung Fu Panda in the past. I think there's one still going on right now that Jack Black is even in. I think it's the Amazon or the Netflix one. There's many of them. Lee is Bryan Cranston's name, but it didn't feel like Poe. Like at the very beginning, you see him selling out and just doing commercials and signing autographs, and that doesn't feel like Poe. It doesn't feel like that's something Poe would do. And sure, he's doing a commercial for his father's noodle shop, but the way they portray it, it doesn't feel like him. And it's the original writers of the original trilogy coming back, so I don't know what happened, but it just feels off. It felt like Poe is even more the butt of the joke than even he was in the first movie or the other movies. And so, yeah, the writing of this movie is just very poor. And it's a shame. I mean, another positive, the animation is really good. It's a very beautiful movie. I do like the art style that they went in. It's a little different from the first two. I guess a little similar to the third because I know that had a kind of art style mix up. But yeah, the art style was pretty. It's a very pretty movie to look at. But you can really say that with any animated film now. So yeah, I don't really have any more to say about this. It really bums me out to have to say all this because I love Kung Fu Panda and the first three movies. They're so great. And so you come in with this, with like the promise of something really special because you get Viola Davis as a villain. That's really cool. You get Jack Black back. You get the original writers back. You don't get the original directors back, but it's Mike Mitchell who did Sky High. He did Lego Movie 2, which I haven't seen, but people did like that, even if they didn't like it as much as the first one. And so when you put all this together, it's just, yeah, there's not much to it. They even brought Ian McShane back to be Tai Lung for this kind of useless part. It felt like he was brought back just to say, we have Tai Lung in this movie so they could sell tickets. But then when you actually get into it, there really wasn't a reason to have him there, even though there could have been a really great reason. Because when Tai Lung does come in, he says some things to Poe that's very interesting. It kind of changes his current like characterization, and it's like I just wish you went into that direction, but they didn't. They chose to make a film that just fundamentally does not work. Yeah, I'm really low on this movie. I'd probably give it like a 30 out of 100, just for the few small things that I said I liked. I mean, Lee and Ping really make up for it in this movie. Other than that, it's not great. I would not recommend seeing it. But if you have seen it, what did you think? Did you like it? I hope you did, because I would love someone to like a movie I didn't like. But unfortunately, I didn't. Did you not like it? Did you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? I want to know. Let me know in the comments below if you're watching on YouTube. And of course, you can follow me on YouTube, on Twitter, on Instagram, at That's a Wrap NCR. That'll do it for today's episode. Next week will be a special episode of Dune 2, possibly Ghostbusters. I have my ticket to see that, so I'm excited to see what the new installment has in store. Especially because I was not a huge fan of Afterlife, even though Ghostbusters also has a very special place in my heart for me. But we'll see. I'm really liking the trailers for this one, so I have high hopes. Yeah, let me know what you thought of this movie, of this episode, of any of the trailers I talked about, the Oscars. But until next time, that's a wrap.